Now, in high definition, this is 13 WMAZ Eyewitness News at 6.
Families of soldiers embraced just moments ago at Robins Air Force Base as members of the 689th Combat Communication Wing arrived home for the holidays. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Leah Johnson. This is Eyewitness News at 6. Frank Malloy has the night off. Our top story tonight at 6, about 25 Central Georgia airmen have returned home for the holidays. Just a few minutes ago, the members of the 689th Combat Communication Wing rolled into Robins Air Force Base. Laura Lynch-Jones was at the base while she waited for the troops' arrival, and I'm sure it was a happy homecoming for lots of family members awaiting their loved ones. Laura.
Oh, you bet, Leah. It's such a wonderful sight. It just doesn't get any better than that, seeing these airmen come off the bus. Good evening here. So glad to welcome these troops home, the 5th Mob from Robins Air Force Base. They've been in Iraq and some of the last ones home. Great stuff, Leah.
All right, thanks a lot, Laura. And of course, we will have more on their homecoming tonight on Eyewitness News at 11. Well, many of you have welcomed back the troops in your own way on Facebook. Keisha Pennyman says that thank you for the courageous men and women in uniform. This is the best Christmas gift ever, bringing them home. Merry Christmas. Connie English-Smith posted, "Welcome home and thank you to you and your families for all that you have contributed to this great nation. Wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. You and your families are greatly appreciated."
Good morning, Central Georgia. I'm David Earle. After a conviction on felony murder, James Eddie Clements received his sentence.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist David Ernst. Tropical Storm Isaac continues to drop heavy rain over Louisiana and Mississippi. I'll let you know how the storm will affect us today. Now that's coming up in your full forecast.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. A look at how students at Georgia College developed a new tool to help teachers in the classroom.
Good, marvelous Thursday morning. I'm Marvin James. I'll have your Braves highlights coming up in sports.
Those stories and more on this Thursday, August the 30th.
This is 13 WMAZ Eyewitness News Morning.
That what you did was calculated and cold-blooded. Because of that, that's count one, I'm going to sentence you to life without the possibility of parole.
Judge Edward Lukemeyer delivering the ruling of life in prison to Eddie Clements. David Earle is standing by with more on that story, but first we get a check of this morning's weather. Meteorologist David Ernst. Hey, David.
Good morning, Kenny. We are looking at mostly cloudy skies.
David, thank you. 5:02 is the time. James Eddie Clements Jr. got life without parole plus 5 years for hiring 2 men to kill his wife, Johnny. That sentence came down late yesterday afternoon. Clements was convicted of murder last Friday. Also in court yesterday is co-defendants Richard and Robert Seibert, the alleged shooter, and his father. The father and son Seibert also receiving sentencing. Richard Seibert got life plus 5 and no parole for killing Johnny Clements.
Welcome back. The Houston County NAACP is asking the Board of Education to reconsider plans for an elementary school that they say holds historical significance.
The board intends to make Pearl Stevens Elementary in Warner Robins an alternative school as part of an improvement plan approved by voters in a November SPLOST. But the NAACP's president says the plan will hurt the neighborhood and Pearl Stevens, a black educator's legacy. Here's both sides of the story. Hines says it's too early to consider names for the schools with the changes nearly 2 years away. He said the board will honor every school name affected by improvements in some way.
Some great news today for Macon's Alexander II Magnet School. It was named a 2011 Georgia School of Excellence, one of only 26 in the state. You are looking at a class of 5th graders learning about aerodynamics by flying paper airplanes. Alexander II Magnet got this honor based on test scores in reading and mathematics. School principal Cindy Canova says that it's the hard work of the entire school that makes this honor possible.
New at 11, the city of Eatonton welcomed home their Olympic gold medalist Vincent Hancock, and President Barack Obama responds to a new report from the White House on education job cuts.
Atlanta took Game 1 in walk-off fashion, but came up short in Game 2. Highlights from Braves-Dodgers in sports.
The radar shows some storms moving in from Alabama. We'll see how our chances look tonight.
Plus, the T-Splosh may have failed in July, but some road and rail projects around Atlanta may get done after all.
This is 13 WMAZ Eyewitness News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer Moulet. A person is dead in Macon tonight after being shot. Bibb County Coroner Leon Jones said the shooting happened at 4882 Fulton Mill Road. He's calling it a homicide. No more information was available. We'll have more information as the story develops.
We'll become a little more isolated with highs back into the lower 90s, lows in the mid-60s. Jennifer?
We have an update to the shooting we told you about earlier. Bibb County Coroner Leon Jones says the man who was shot and killed earlier today was 59-year-old Walter Henley. Jones says his kids found him on the back porch of 4882 Fulton Mill Road. The coroner is calling it a homicide. We'll update the story as more information becomes available. Eyewitness News continues after the break.
This is 13 WMAZ Eyewitness News at 11.
When you have an opportunity to visit with families who have lost their loved ones, as I describe to them, I come to them not so much as president as I do as a father and as a husband. And I think that the reason stories like this have such an impact on us is because we can all understand what it would be to have somebody that we love taken from us in this fashion.
The grief-stricken community of Aurora, Colorado is trying to heal together after Friday's mass shooting with a prayer vigil and a visit from President Obama. As Teresa Garcia reports, authorities are making their case against accused shooter James Holmes, who's preparing for his first court appearance tomorrow. Some of the survivors are in critical condition and more are expected to have lasting injuries. Today, the famed statue of Joe Paterno outside Beaver Stadium on Penn State's campus was uprooted from the ground where it stood for over a decade. In the midst of a crowd of about 150 people chanting, "We are Penn State," they lifted the statue off its base using a forklift and moved it into Beaver Stadium. Here's a look at what the statue looked like before and for the last 11 years. And this was the scene today after construction workers tore it down. The university cited the investigation that found the late coach and 3 other top Penn State administrators concealed sex abuse claims against retired assistant coach Jerry Sandusky as the reason for the removal.
We'll move now to the top of the third. Cole Hamels helping his cause. He launches one deep to center. Bourne gives chase, but bounces right over the wall. Hamels' ground rule double would score 2. That makes a 7-1 Philly advantage. But the Braves put on their rally caps in the bottom of the 9th inning. You just saw this. It's so good we're going to show you again. Down by 2, Chipper Jones hits this towering 3-run homer off Jonathan Papelbon to score Michael Bourne and Martin Prado for the walk-off win. The bench clearing walk-off win. 8-7 your final score as the Braves take Game 3 against the Phillies. And
today is Friday the 13th, a day long associated with bad luck, but why? The number 13 seems to have worked out pretty well for us here at WMAZ. We take pride in our prime number status, even from the beginning.
And the people who worked at the station then encouraged George Rankin, the manager, said, well, you can't have 13. That's an unlucky number. People won't relate to that. And he said, well, it's the only channel we have available, and so we're going to take it, and we will just embrace that, and we will call ourselves the Lucky 13.
But the reason for this fear is as old as time itself. First, let's examine the phobia. The number 13 and Friday are reoccurring themes in myth and religion. In Christianity, 13 people attended the Last Supper before Judas's betrayal and Jesus' death on a Friday. In Norse mythology, 12 gods were having a dinner party when an uninvited 13th guest showed up. This was Loki, the god of mischief. His presence caused the death of Balder, the god of joy and gladness.
Using technology in education.
It is 5:07 tonight. Mitt Romney to accept his nomination for president at the Republican convention.
But last night the spotlight was on his VP pick.
I am honored by the support of this convention for Vice President of the United States.
We'll have more from the convention coming up later in the show.
When it comes to best-selling books, having a bow and arrow may be more effective than having a wand.
Amazon.com announced today the Hunger Games trilogy, bam, surpassed the Harry Potter books as the most popular series.
Now, the most interesting part of the surge of Katniss and the Hunger Games is that the series only consists of 3 books. The Harry Potter series is 7.
And John, have you actually read any of these books?
I have not. They don't have any pictures in them.
Come on, John.
They don't have anything to do with weather, so.
Nothing in there.
I've read all 3 of them. Yeah, and the Harry Potter books. I've read both of them. So.
See, I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but I am on the 3rd book. I finally finished the first 2, and they're actually pretty good. And you said who was reading them?
Yeah, guess who read these during the NBA Finals? None other than LeBron James, busting them out right before the game.
So there you go, John. It's good. LeBron James reads them.
Maybe something for me to do on a rainy day. Now, tomorrow and Monday, there's a possibility we could be a little rainier than today and yesterday. In fact, we could